on, man?
What you been up to, man?
We've been doing a lot, it feels like. Trying to do some things that like we couldn't really do with Bo, just trying to well, let's exploit these things. So we've been going out a lot, probably more than we should. Um, Drinking more than we should, eating more than we should. Um, but it's like, yeah, it's this like new found freedom in a weird way. It's like this weird like we were so used to thinking and planning, like thinking about our days and planning out our days in very specific, like prescribed ways that now it's like
Yeah,
just the idea of like being able to get up and do something at any moment's notice is so new to us.
yeah,
So there have been times in the last few weeks where I'll just like, it's like 5 o'clock and I'll be like, well, what do you feel like doing tonight? And Christina's like, oh, I didn't think we were gonna do anything. I thought we were just gonna stay here. And I was like, but we can go do something if we want to. And I was like, do you
yeah.
feel like
No,
doing
you don't
something?
have you don't have a little,
A
yeah,
little responsibility to take care of, Like, so yeah, so it's been moments like that where I'm just like, well, what do you feel like doing tonight? And she's like, oh, I didn't think about doing anything. I'm like, well, let's go see a movie. Or like, let's go get a drink somewhere, or let's ask so and so if they want to hang out. It's been like little things like that where like, oh yeah, we can do that now.
yeah.
Um, and each day does get easier, like dealing with the sadness and everything and like missing them. But Andy got me good today because he fucking sent me this like beautiful um here, let me show you. Share my screen for a second. But Andy like got this thing made and I didn't even know who it was when he sent it to me. Like I got it in the mail today. You can see this, right? My story.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at this thing.
Oh,
Like how cute.
that's so sweet.
Yeah, it's like it says if love could have kept you here, you would live forever. And yeah, he just like Christina sent him some of these pictures, Chris sent him some of these pictures. Um and yeah, just kind of I got in the mail completely surprised today. And it's really pretty.
That's
Um,
so sweet.
I know, man. Oh, and then fucking check this out. Let me stop sharing here. How do I do that? Oh, here we go.
No, let me watch what High Times magazine is talking about.
There's this
This,
really funny picture of Bo that's like one of our favorites. That the original picture is like he's sitting. Do you remember? I mean, you didn't really come to my places often whenever I was in Austin, but do you remember Bo's chair? He had like a big green kind of lazy boy that he would lay on.
sure.
So when me and Christina moved into our apartment together in Austin during the lockdown,
Yeah,
there's a picture of like me going up to him and basically like straddling his head and his like head is like sticking out like between my legs and it's just like kind of pulling back on his and Christina took a picture of it and it just was hilarious. And then she drew like a because on your iPhone you can like draw and color on pictures and everything, and
yeah, yeah.
she made it to where Bo's face was like a flower, so you didn't see my butt or the sweatpants or anything. All you saw was like his like weird face, and then she drew like a flower around it, and it's always just been like kind of an inside joke, like funny picture for us. And then our neighbors fucking went and got hats made
Oh,
of the image.
that's so sweet.
Like,
Oh my
people
God.
people have been amazing to us, man. People have been really amazing. It's like this outpouring of support that I did not expect, and it really helps because like not being around, not being in Austin, not being around you, like around Andy or my family or anything. It's like it could be really easy to like feel lonely and feel like we're going through this alone.
Yeah,
But
but if you have ever had a pet, you understand.
yeah,
You know, it
that's the thing that I've noticed is like this is like a pain that so many people have been through and they can all understand, and
yeah,
yeah, and it's just amazing. Like this hat was like they dropped it off the other day and we're just like, Oh my God. And then Christina's bosses got her this like beautiful bouquet of flowers, and Andy sent that thing, and um Peter sent me this like Lord of the Rings Pez set. Just that he like found it in his parents' house, and he was
Damn.
like, "Oh man, Lucas would love that." And I do. And it was just like something stupid to make me smile, you know. And Chris asked me to send him a picture of my bow tattoo, and Chris has been doing a lot of what are they called? Like linotypes or something? Those things that um you like carve a stamp basically into this like rubbery thing.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Chris has been making a lot of those lately, just like little art projects, and they actually look really cool. And then he asked me for a picture of Bo's tattoo, and I'm like, I wonder if he's gonna do a linotype
Oh
or
man.
whatever of that. You know, it's just been like little things like that. I'm like, people are really nice, man. So,
Damn, dude, I feel bad that I didn't do any. I like,
nah, no, that's the thing. Is like all this is so above and beyond. It's all just like it's completely unnecessary. It's unexpected, and it's just like, wow, like it's just kind of like everything that people have done or like given to us or sent to us or anything has been just so unexpected on our end that it's just like, wow, like this is such a beautiful gesture,
yeah.
and yeah, man. And it makes me feel bad too, because I think about like, man, when my sister's dog passed away, I didn't send her anything. I was like, damn, I didn't think about doing that. Like when my childhood dogs got put down, I was like, I didn't think about sending my dad a framed photo of my dog or something, like it was just people have that's what I mean, like above and beyond. Just we didn't expect any of this. Like text messages, phone calls, like totally, but like gifts, I've
No, yeah, commemorative like
yeah,
gifts
yeah.
of Bo. And um I would say I actually almost made things worse with maybe the album I recommended that we have
You
to
did.
listen to during this cycle. Um
I really didn't want to listen to this. So
right. Well, we don't have to get into it yet, but I am excited to hear what you have to say about it. Because I think you're playing coy, and I think you love this fucking.
what's
I
up,
think.
buds, and welcome to the new episode of the Earbuds
Hey,
Podcast, the podcast where two friends talk about one album for a certain amount of time. We're your hosts, Lucas and Ash, and we're here to talk about Justin Timberlake's, I guess, breakout record.
it's his
Uh,
second record.
it's his second record. It's a
Yeah.
second solo album, but it's the
Yeah.
one that I really feel like really fucking blew him up,
Yes, it's his first solo record, Justified.
which I totally forgot about.
No, yeah, had Crimea River and Rock Your Body, I think,
Yeah,
which
like those were
pretty
two big songs.
yeah, those basically got him outside of NSYNC, but he didn't really become the icon that he would become until this album.
Yeah, I
And
feel like this album was the one where he was trying to like make himself into more of a sex symbol kind of adult
certainly,
artist, right?
yes,
Like,
there's a lot of sex stuff on here. There's a lot of like, yeah, girl, move your sexy body and I'll be sexy too.
yeah.
You know? A lot of that shit.
I mean, Justin Timberlake on his own outside of NSYNC. NSYNC was huge already, but outside of NSYNC, homie has sold like 90 million records.
He's
Uh
far eclipsed
oh yeah.
in sync, certainly.
Yeah. And what's you know, fucking spoiler alert, I like NSYNC way more than I like
Is that
Justin Timberlake
right?
solo stuff. Way more. I actually genuinely
Really?
like NSYNC. Like when their shit comes on, I jam. Like I can get into it. Christina and me have had multiple dance parties to listening to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and shit, but it's like I just have never really enjoyed Justin Timberlake's solo stuff, and I've never really enjoyed him as a performer or a artist or anything.
I mean, I don't know what his deal is. Like, I don't know what he's like personally or anything. Um, but I'm very surprised to hear that. I would an NSYNC album would be one of the last things I think I'd show you.
I know,
Uh,
right? I mean, I don't
but
know. I have weird like little quirks like that a lot where it's for some reason I'll like, I love Kill Switch Engage with Howard as the singer, but I don't like Howard's any of his other bands that he's been in, and it's just
yeah.
it's maybe like the magic was there for them, and I think that's what a lot of people loved about this record was a lot of people felt like the magic was there with Timbaland and Justin Timberlake together.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, the first album was produced by the Neptunes, who
Okay.
you certainly know. That's the
Yeah.
tag team of Pharrell and uh Hugo. Is this fucking name Hugo? I don't
And
know.
the Asian guy.
The Asian guy.
Yeah, the Asian
Um,
guy. And then Jawbreakers came into the scene with this album.
yeah, yeah. That was Rick Rubin
Jawbreakers
and
is Will.i.am and Justin Timberlake.
oh,
They were
it's
like they
okay.
like
It's just
created a
those two.
production team called the Jawbreakers, and they did one song on this record, and they
They did
created a
multiple
team.
songs, but only one got on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of shit
Um,
got cut.
and the one that it, I hesitate to hear what the other ones sound like. If this is the best one of the crop.
Right.
Uh, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get into that. And I thought this album came out before the Super Bowl Janet Jackson titty fiasco,
Did it
but
not?
this album came out 2 years after that. And it's
Um,
just weird. I always associated this era of Justin Timberlake to like he was already performing a lot of these songs, and that's why he performed at the Super Bowl. And so it's like crazy that he came out with one solo record and performed the Super Bowl with Janet Jackson like a,
that's wild.
a year later, I think. What's weird too is that his Justified was written in something like a month and a half or 2 months, and this record it took like a year for him to write it, and
Yeah.
it came out 3 years after that first solo record. So it's kind of another big surprise.
Well, it was 6 years, I believe, after his first solo record, and
Oh, 6 years? God damn.
it was a 3 year musical hiatus because he had kind of done like a collab album.
Yeah, he was on
With
Where's the Love, that Black Eyed Peas song.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did that before this record came out.
Okay.
But obviously, him and Will.i.am were in cahoots. They were working together.
They
Um,
seem like perfect for each other. More him and Will.i.am more than Timberlake and Timberland. Like the combination of Will.i.am and Justin Timberlake makes a lot more sense to me than Timbaland.
but I mean, hey, it fucking worked out. And I'm not sure if we said the name of this record yet. This is FutureSex Love Sounds by
Yes.
Justin Timberlake, his second record, and likely his most famous one, probably his most lauded one.
It had 6 singles from it, which is huge.
Yeah,
Sexy Back is for better or for worse, an iconic song, an iconic beat.
for better, baby.
For some for better, for some for worse.
I I don't know who any of those for worse people could be. I'd like you to show me one of them, and I'll show you
Sexy
a fucking poser.
Justin Timberlake has done 2 things for the culture. Okay.
Yeah.
One, he I don't know if he coined the term, but he's credited with the term wardrobe malfunction. That was
Is
the first
that
time. That was the
is
first
that
time that's
right?
his. Yes, he
Holy
was.
shit.
That was the first time that has been said, and that was his apology for ripping Janet Jackson's top off. Um, and then the second thing that he's done for the culture is "Sexy Back," because that is beyond a song at this point. Like that became part of the vernacular of American pop culture and the world for decades. People still say "sexy back." I'm bringing X back. Like people say that shit
Sure.
all the time still.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, "Sexy Back," "My Love," "What Goes Around Comes Around," which I completely forgot about that song.
Yeah. Summer Love,
"Love Stoned."
um, and Love Stoned. I don't think Sexy Ladies was a sin, but
No, "Sexy
uh
Ladies." We'll get into each individual song. But it was interesting, like going into this because, like, right away I could hear the influences that he had on this, specifically Prince. Like
yeah.
tons of that kind of Minneapolis soul funk sound in
Yeah.
this. Lots of Rick James kind of sounding bass lines and stuff. Lots of Prince falsetto trying to,
Yeah.
sound sexy and
Sexy,
risque.
sexy ladies, which we were talking about, opens with that kind of like that bass tone that is so iconic of like
Yes.
Prince, I think.
Yeah.
That real, I don't know how you describe it, kind of like phasey, like I don't know. I
Yeah,
love the sound of
kind of
the
wah slap bass. Um, but man, it's like going into this album, he apparently had a ton of influences that I couldn't pick up on while listening to this record. I can definitely hear Prince because it says one of the first things he did when he met up with Timbaland was put on like a Prince album and was like, I've been really into this lately. And it's like,
I
okay.
that must be a fucking, if I was Timbaland in that moment, I might have quit. It's like if you think we're emulating Prince, then
Apparently Timbaland was a little hesitant to even sign on to this album, to this project, because Timberlake wanted to do more like have more rock stuff in there, have more like soul gospel stuff in there, more R&B stuff versus like just straight R&B, you know?
yeah.
And Timbaland was like, dude, we're gonna kind of, lose your whole fan base if we do this, if we go so off the rails. But I guess it worked for him. I mean, like, do you think okay, a little more background. I love like context, right? So I think a big problem that I have with this album is the lyrics and the songwriting. It
Sure. I mean,
feels very lazy to me.
the lyrics are very plain, like I'm sexy, you're sexy. Let's get something going.
Yeah,
I,
so turns out Justin Timberlake didn't write any of these lyrics down. They just came up with it on the spot.
well, that's a shocker.
I know, right? Girl, hey, hey, girl, hey, girl, fucking over and over and over
Damn,
again.
girl. Damn, girl.
Damn, girl, hey, girl. Like, oh my God, dude, it drove me fucking insane. The amount of shit that was just repeated over and over and over again. And I'm just like, yeah, like when you read that it's like early in their sessions, they were just fooling around and freestyling and they started just like writing stuff and blah, blah. And then it's like, turns out the only lyrics he wrote down were the last song on the album,
Sure. Yeah.
which is actually uh I like that song.
That
Um,
is another song all over again.
yeah, all over again.
I think if you're going into this thinking you're gonna get any kind of like lyrical depth or like moral questions or anything, you're kind of going into it with the wrong mindset.
yeah, I think that's the thing is like that's the problem I have with pop music is that it does feel very shallow a lot of the times. So it's like it's hard for me to
But
I don't dance.
you like D'Angelo.
Yeah, but he's not pop. He's like
He's
R&B.
not pop.
He's not pop.
Whatever he is whatever fucking like Timberlake is, like
No.
pop R&B.
Mm, mm,
No.
no. No. I mean, no. Like
Well,
D'Angelo is a
just the
full-on
lyrics of what
artist.
D'Angelo's saying, just what
Well,
he's
yeah, but the
saying.
lyrics are different. Like I can
They're
listen
not
to
different. They're just him talking about.
no, that's what I mean. I mean lyrics are different in terms of like genre. Like you can write a love song in metal. Like, come on, let's not focus that
Well,
on
yeah, but
the
what
on the lyrical content.
what I'm saying is, if you're giving that fucking uh negative point to Timberlake, you got to give it to people like D'Angelo too, who write about the same shit.
I mean, okay, I get what you mean, but I think a big thing for me, the difference is I think D'Angelo is genuinely a sexy person. And I think he pulls off those
You don't
lyrics
think
really
JT's a
well.
little sexy?
I find Justin Timberlake anti-sexual. I find him to be the
Anti-sexual.
most Mickey Mouse fucking pop star I've ever seen in my life. I
I
just
mean,
I don't find him exciting. I don't find him to be entertaining. I've never
he's just
liked
a
Justin
generic
Timberlake.
white dude.
He's so generic and he's
You
not
know.
sexy. I can't picture Justin Timberlake having sex. Like I can't picture him as a sexual being. It doesn't look right to me. And he just seems like such a fucking dork that hearing him say like that he's making sexy music, it just felt the whole album to me felt like he was trying so hard to be sexy. It's like the first Miley Cyrus record where she finally stopped doing Disney shit. And it's just like, now look at my titties. And it's like, okay, we get it, but like you're not sexy either. And I don't want to
Oh,
hear you. I don't want to see someone that looks like Justin Timberlake singing songs about sex. D'Angelo, I'll fucking listen to that dude all day.
that's fine. Do
Yeah.
these songs not make you feel sexy?
No, they make me feel
No,
very awkward and uncomfortable.
bro.
Dude, the review that the magazine Vibe put out at the time when this album came out, part of their review said that their songwriting and this album was frustratingly awkward, and I 100% agree that like the album was really frustrating on my part because of the shitty lyricism for me and just kind of like just to me it just sounded like pop music. It wasn't anything special. But the awkward part because it's like I feel awkward hearing Justin Timberlake say like she's a sexy bitch and come over here and put your ass on my lap and you know what I want to do to you later and she a
What
freak
did
but
you
I think
think
I
was gonna
like it.
happen on this record?
I don't know.
It's called Future Sex Love Sounds, dude.
I mean,
Like,
yeah. Well, that's why I never listened to it, Ash, because I didn't think I was gonna like it. So
I'm
I never
just,
listened to it.
I just think you gotta get sexy with it sometimes.
I think Justin Timberlake is a lot better at being like emotional and sappy and lovey than he is at being sexy.
And I guess that's shown in you enjoying the last song, which is a little
Yes.
more like personal.
The last song feels a lot more like a traditional like Stevie Wonder 70s era love song. And
Sure.
I'm into that. And that's what he said his first album he felt was basically just trying to be Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder combined. But I still heard him trying to be Michael
I
Jackson and
mean, no,
Stevie Wonder
he's
on this
definitely
album.
still trying to be Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
where he's being delusional with
do
that.
you hear any other influences on this album though? Because he has a list, and I didn't hear any of the other people that he listed as his influences on this.
I mean, I don't know. Aside from what you said, uh, like Prince and Michael
For sure, Prince.
Jackson and
Yeah.
like maybe like Parliament or Bootsy Collins or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Some of that
But
funk,
like
some of that Northern Soul funk
so
shit.
yeah. But I mean that I don't think it's much more complicated than that.
But he calls out like the Killers and the Strokes.
Well, you see when you said rock, when you said he wanted to be rock, what part of this album is rock?
So
It's
the
like
interludes was Timbaland's kind of idea because the interludes are more of the more like alternative, like weird dance music are the interludes, and it's like
sure.
they made them more into interludes slash medleys versus full on singles because Timbaland was like, okay, do your experimental shit, the shit that you want to try that's new, but let's make them into shorter songs so it's more bite sized and it's not like the focus on the album. Like the actual songs, actual meat, the singles are going to be traditional pop R&B music, and all the ones that are interludes, all the slashes are
Yeah.
all like the experimental stuff on the record. And I just don't
I
hear rock music at all. Radiohead was another one that he put as an influence on this album. And I was
okay,
like,
that's bullshit.
I
I don't
felt
know where
like
you're getting
I
that.
was like, homie was playing chess back then because in 2006, The Strokes, The Killers, Arcade Fire was another one that he mentioned, and Radiohead. I'm just like, all you're doing is naming the biggest indie acts of the day, the biggest rock acts of
Yeah.
2006, and you're like, well, I really
These
wanted to sound like Radiohead and The Killers, and people are like, whoa, Justin Timberlake's trying new stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, and I'm like,
well the
how
thing
many people were
like
disappointed when they picked up this album, thinking that it was going to sound like the fucking Killers?
I don't I don't have a lot of context for how this album was received or like I don't know. I was
It
like
was big.
11. I was 11 when this album came out. I was kind of listening to music, but I don't really know what parts of this are like super experimental.
I was going to ask. So, okay, I've already vented.
You've
I've
already
ranted.
reprimanded Justin Timberlake enough.
I've reprimanded you and Justin Timberlake accordingly. So, I wanted to ask you,
Yeah,
why did you make me listen to this?
because this is a great fucking pop record, dude.
But
It's
what is it
got
that you love so much about it?
the thing I love so much about it, I mean, it's hard not to attach how I felt at 11, hearing all these songs
So you got into it in
absolutely
2006.
invading the airwaves.
You got into it
Huh?
back then?
No.
Mm,
I just like most of the singles from this album were big, big hits. Like
huge.
not even like they were like number ones and number twos, you
Yeah.
know?
You couldn't
So they
escape
were
this album.
everywhere.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so there is certainly that part of me that is kind of nostalgic for that time. I was hearing these songs on the radio and stuff. Um, but just it's the catchiness of it is so fun. The danciness, it makes me feel sexy. It makes me want to dance. It I don't know, man. I like how the songs weave together. I think sometimes it can be pretty rough. Like the whole my love, my love. Uh, I thought that part was pretty shitty and almost too shitty. Almost shitty enough to kind of shadow the really cool transition
Yeah.
between that part
The
and the
that
next.
that's that change up was so needed
It
on that
was
song.
so good, right?
The music's way better during that portion of the song. I still hate the song because I wrote down, I was like, oh my God, shut up with the My Loves and the Haze. The My
Well,
Love,
yeah,
hey, My Love, hey. Oh, shut the fuck up.
it
Oh my
was.
God.
I think that was probably the most. That's probably my least favorite part of the album.
And that's
My
probably the,
love, my
yeah.
love.
And that's probably the most, that's the best example of like, yeah, it doesn't sound like you wrote anything down, dude. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot of thought was put into these songs, except the ones that are obvious that you wrote some shit down, you
I
know?
mean, I feel like the transition between that part and the next song is seems to me the whole reason they made, right? It's
Right.
just the transition of Justin Timberlake going through this phaser, and then the beat kicks in. It's silent.
Yeah.
So cool to me.
Yeah. That second half is like, why did you even do the first part? You know?
That part could have been like 20. It could have been 10 seconds long.
Yeah,
And I
seriously.
feel
You
like it
could have
would have
done that
been
part once and
just
it
as
still would have
well.
been annoying, but it would have been way more digestible. But like, so you're a big pop fan. Like
I mean, yeah, I'd say
you good amount of pop music. You like pop music.
I like pop music. I try not to let. There's always that part of me that's like, no, pop music is shit. Pop music is bullshit. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like pop music.
So in your opinion, I know you're not a pop historian or anything, but being a fan of pop music, do you think this album, because people in the day, I don't know if they still think this, but in the day they considered this kind of like a game-changing pop record. Like the whole reason Timberlake wanted to make an album like this was also because he thought that pop music sucked at the time, that he was like, it's just all really shitty. So he wanted to bring back really good dance, sexy pop music.
I
So do you think this album is as game changing as like a Lady Gaga with her first record with Born This Way, or like Billie Eilish, like the way that she's completely changed pop music? Like, do you think this was as impactful as those records? Because to me, it's not being a fan of pop. I hear this and I go, yeah, this sounds like all the pop music that was coming out in the mid 2000s. But it's like, was all the pop music sounding like this because of this fucking album in the mid 2000s? You know what I mean? Like, was it really influential and game changing? Like, I really don't
I
know.
I don't know what music Justin's referring to when he says like all the stuff coming out was like shitty.
Yeah, he said the sad state of pop music is why he wanted to write an album like this.
I, I don't know about all that. I don't know what he was
Oh,
referring
well,
to.
yeah.
Um, but I also didn't really see it as like the most game changing thing. Like they kind of put some uh 808s in the songs, and had
Right.
more like they had some samples, they had some electronic stuff. They had a good kind of instrumental scope, but it's really nothing crazy.
I mean, it won multiple Grammys.
It's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
which confused me.
The Rolling
But
Stones put it at number 26 of their best 50 albums that came out that year.
But I think I mean, you listen to this record and every song is catchy in a way for better or for worse.
Yeah,
But every song is catchy. Every song has something in it that's gonna like hook you, whether it's the melody, whether it's an instrument, whether it's like the backup vocals of the song.
right. Um, Timbaland definitely showed up on this record. Like you talk about, like, yeah, there's some
Oh yeah.
808s and there's stuff like that, but like this is him, other than his Missy Elliott work that he's done, this is his best work. This album. Like this is the most like Timbaland sounding music I've ever heard.
And if you didn't know, you would think going through the first half of the album that this is like a duo record with how much Timbaland likes to kind of like
Yo,
speak up.
yeah, this was the most fucking like P Diddy he's ever fucking been to, because it's just like, yo, Timbaland, get off the fucking track, dude. Like, what are you? You're just
I
talking.
love when Timbaland comes on the track.
I mean, I like him. I like him, as a person and everything. But it's just, to me, I was like, damn, he is kind of like really staking his claim over a lot of these
Yeah.
songs, and like he has a presence on this album that I thought was only on Sexy Back. The ticket to the bridge, that
Yeah,
shit, and it's
yeah,
like,
like
no,
stuff
he's
like
all
that.
over this album.
And then he kind of drops off after the second half. Like he
Yeah,
kind of
right.
disappears a little bit.
Yeah,
He knew what songs were going to be hits. He put those first. He put
that's a good
himself
point.
on it, you know.
That's a good point. He probably knew which ones were going to be singles, and he was like, "Well, I'm going to talk over this, obviously."
I'm going to I'm not going to like say who I am, but people are going to know what my voice is, you know. People are
Right.
going
And you
to
can
know what
hear
I'm at.
like Timbaland definitely, like, he understood the assignment. You can hear a lot of like heavy Prince influence, of like the Minneapolis soul, the Northern soul influence. But like in my opinion, like it does, because he did it so, I guess in a good way you could say he did it so honorably, that you can hear he has like reverence for that music.
Sure.
It almost does sound like a little bit of a reproduction of someone else's stuff. It's like they took the original and remixed it and then used that as a beat. It's like what a lot of these beats sound like to me, except Sexy Back. That's the only one that to me is wholly original,
Well, there's also
weirdly industrial 80s new wave sounding, but that's the only one that stands out to me as just like, oh, I haven't heard a beat like that before. I haven't heard music like that before.
I was also kind of surprised by how minimal some of these tracks are.
I know. That
You
opening
know,
track, like, what a weird, boring song to start with.
well, I was into it. It starts off with this what's that it's like a Kendrick song that starts off with a beat that kind of sounds like the effects of that weird like wah kind of phasey drum set. Um
That put me on the spot. I have no idea.
uh ah, in any case. Uh I like it. I think JT is a singer first and foremost, and he is, yes, he's bragging about his voice all the fucking time. He's a singer. You're never gonna go like 10 seconds without hearing him in like the core songs, you
Yeah,
know?
for real.
Um,
And
but
honestly, I've
he's
never
a
been that impressed with his voice. Do you like his voice a lot?
um, I think I do. I don't think it's anything exceptional,
Yeah, I don't
but
think it's exceptional at all.
there are some deliveries on this album that I really enjoy because it's Justin Timberlake. Like one of my favorite parts on the album is just like a tiny little thing. But it's when it transitions to the chorus of What Goes Around.
Mhm.
And JT's like, can you tell? Is this the way it's really going down? You know? Like that
Yeah.
part. Ah, it just fucking gets me every time. I love how smooth it is. I love how fucking like I don't
I mean,
know. In that
he's good at
moment,
falsetto, but I don't hear any soul in his singing. His singing feels very
I
like cardboard
I don't think there's a
bland.
lot of like emotion. I think he's doing the
No.
runs because it's pop.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah. I feel
but
like, go ahead.
where he's not doing a lot of soul. He's like making these melodies and he's making these parts that are get stuck in your head, that are catchy. And I think that's really what he was focusing on. He didn't really care about lyrics, obviously. He not on many songs did he really sound like he had a deep, like, emotional thing to talk about. He didn't.
He didn't.
It
Yeah.
was
And
like
it,
even on the songs like uh Until the End of Time, where he talks about Bob, who is
dude,
always, it's a little cheesy.
let's talk about that song for a second. Do you know what that song's about?
I mean, it's about Bob fucking doing drugs and losing his family, right?
Justin Timberlake wrote it after he watched a documentary about methamphetamine addiction. And he was like, man, this is a problem that's plaguing our nation. Like, I need to write a
Yeah.
song about like meth addicts. And I,
Thanks, JT.
that
You
is such
saved us
a,
all.
that is such a wild song, dude. Like, it's kind of wild to write that song. Like,
I
Justin Timberlake has no connection to crystal meth or like addiction in his family
No,
from
yeah, and it like
hell. Like,
all the songs up until now have been like, Chop Me Up, Damn Girl, Summer Love. And
yeah,
then
set the
fucking
mood.
yeah. Oh, Bob had a family, but he was addicted to drugs and he lost everything.
Dude, he has a lyric that says, I can't put down the pipe. You're like, oh my God.
I I
Like,
feel like I feel like that song kind of fell flat. I think there were some good moments in it. I feel like the next two songs, to me, were a much better hit of like emotional
yeah.
feeling.
Yeah,
I
because that one
liked Losing My
sounded
Way.
genuine.
Yeah. Well, because he
Losing my
doesn't know what
way.
he's talking about when he talks about
Yeah,
like
dude,
meth.
losing my way sounds like oh my God, it reminds me so much of that song where it's like, she gets up in the morning to do a hair now, cause she can now. And then like it goes through this whole thing and then she's like, cause she's homeless. Yeah, she's homeless. And it's like, dude, you're writing a pop
What
song.
fucking song is that?
Oh, it's an amazing song. God damn it, I gotta look it up now. It's the one that I thought Lizzo ripped off because she has that song that goes like, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and in that song is they do that same exact melody. Um, she gets up in the morning to do her hair now. Oh, it's
I
called
think
Gypsy
that's
Woman.
Juice.
It's called Gypsy Woman La Da Dee
Oh,
by Crystal Waters. And it goes la da dee la da da la da dee.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and she goes like, "Cause she's homeless." Yeah, she's homeless. Like it fell that flat to
Thanks,
me. Where it's
bud.
just like, dude, Justin Timberlake, what are you fucking talking about? Why are you singing this song? It's like you watched a documentary and now you're gonna write a song about meth addiction. Like it feels so crazy that they went through with it, that they kept it on the album. Like I'm sure
I mean,
there are better songs that they had with will.i.am that they cut from this album and put "Losing My Way" on there
I wonder
instead.
if those have ever been released.
There's a lot of versions of this record.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I
mean, it
mean, there's
makes
like,
sense. Like,
yeah, there's songs that he did a song with Snoop Dogg that was released on a different record.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, at least two of the songs that they wrote together outside of the first release of this album were released under like the pre-order bonus package or the Japanese version of the album or whatever. And it's like, yeah, they did several songs together. And there's a song with like Beyonce that they didn't release until it was like
What the
the deluxe
fuck?
edition. Yeah, there
How do
was
you put Beyonce on a song and then you don't put that on the album?
I know, and
That's wild.
it's a 5 minute duet, and they released it on on the deluxe edition. They have a song with 50 Cent, and they had a sexy back remix with fucking Missy Elliott that they didn't put on the album.
Jesus. I feel like we could have taken out like Until the End of Time and Damn Girl for like any of those
100%. Dude,
songs.
the 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 pairings that they came up with on this album for Justin make no sense at all. Why is T.I. on this record?
I don't know,
Because of
man.
Timbaland. Why is 3 6 Mafia rapping over the pussiest,
That's
fucking lamest
crazy.
Memphis style hip hop beat I've heard in ever? They
Like, did
clearly
they
tried to make a
produce the song?
Memphis Timbaland produced that song.
I wonder if like fucking 3 6 Mafia was in the studio.
Maybe
It's like it
yeah.
kind of sounds like a 3 6 Mafia song.
I don't know. I don't know if they helped produce it. I don't know if they helped with the beat, but they definitely wrote their own parts. And I'm sure they helped with Justin's fucking lame ass parts also. But dude, I mean, you hear that and you're just like, okay, it sounds like Timbaland was trying to make a Memphis style hip hop beat, which
Yeah.
could have been great if they went all out with it, but they clearly softened it up. They clearly, like sanded down the edges of that and they made it into a pop track that kind of has a trap beat in it, and then you have fucking dudes from 3 6 Mafia talking about like come over and watch Desperate Housewives and we're gonna fuck. And and it's like, what is happening on this album? This is such a weird time capsule of like pop music
I,
and pop culture.
that it is. Fucking, I'm listening to it now. Little, you gotta just oh,
Dude, the line about
Mac
going
the
back to his
mama
place,
little me.
yeah, the line about watching Desperate Housewives just cracked me up. I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I just can't believe that 3 6 Mafia did a song with Justin Timberlake. It's like Ed Sheeran has done songs with like The Game and shit. And you're just like, I guess they've been pairing these like pop artists with hip hop dudes for a long time, but it's has never, ever worked.
I mean, it's just crazy to me that it seems like Justin's been very pampered ever since he started going solo. Because to
100%.
have your first album produced by the Neptunes,
Yeah. Your
that's
second
like
one, Timbaland. Rick
yeah,
Rubin is
right.
on your second album.
You're working with Rick Rubin. There was another person. There was another like feature on this album that just like shocked me.
Will I
I
Am makes
think
sense, but
uh, in any case, uh, a lot of random people on this album.
and you saying pampered, I think is an interesting thing to bring up too, because a problem that I've had with Justin Timberlake, and it's not necessarily a problem, but it's something that I haven't really liked about him, is I think it's kind of cringy how much he's adopted black culture into his like persona, to be honest. Um,
Yeah,
I knew he grew up in, I think he's from Memphis. Like I know he's like a southern guy. I know he grew up in Florida for a really long time. So it's like, I'm not I wouldn't be surprised if he grew up around black people and had black friends growing up, and like I have a very strong connection with black culture. I connect with black culture more than a lot of other cultures around the world, American black culture. Hip
yeah.
hop is my favorite genre of music. But I feel like Justin has been co-opted or has been like, um, kind of like has gotten like the seal of approval from other black artists to like be the way that he is and say the things that he says and act the way that he acts. And in my opinion, it's just like feels so fucking like fake in the funk to me.
I don't know, man. I don't know the fucking guy.
I don't know the fucking guy
I don't
either,
know
but
what
it's
he's
like you
about.
listen to his music and then you watch him in an interview and it's like it's two completely different people. And it's kind of the same shit as like Billie Eilish kind of like faking being gay, just to like get lesbians to love her
Did
more.
she fake being gay?
They've been accusing her of that for a long time. Like what is it called? Like
Queer bait.
queer baiting. They've been accusing people have been accusing her of queer baiting for a long time. Same
Yeah.
with Harry Styles, where it's like, okay, like just because you have a lot of gay fans doesn't mean you need to start like
Well,
pandering to them.
is it just because Harry's been in feminine outfits?
Kind of, yeah. And
I
like
mean,
wearing makeup and stuff. It's all really silly shit to say that he's queer baiting, but apparently like Billie Eilish has had like taken photos of like her almost kissing a girl or like her like grabbing someone's titties or something, and it's just like, okay, what are you doing? Like are you trying to get people to ship you? With like, are you trying to like not kill someone's lesbian fucking like fantasy of you? So you're just gonna like, okay, let me give you some ammo to keep thinking maybe I'm a lesbian?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like even if you're like just a straight person, everyone's a little gay, you
Well,
know?
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'd rather watch D'Angelo sing these songs than Justin Timberlake because I think he's hot. Like I don't find Justin Timberlake attractive at all, and that's probably a big part of it. Is like it's hard for me to see him as a sexual person because I'm just like, dude, you just do not look like you've ever had sex once in your life. And then it's also I look at this guy with fucking uncooked ramen noodle hair, and I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, but like,
That's
why are you
peak
talk?
JT.
I'm like, why are you talking like that? Like, why are you acting like this? Why are you walking like this? Why are you saying these things? And it's like, I know that he had a lot of like black collaborators and friends in the business and everything, but to me, I'm just like, I think he like dipped his toe, and then all of a sudden he's just like, all right, this is me now. Like, this is my culture. These are the people that I'm going to try and connect with. When I know everyone loves Justin Timberlake, but at the end of the day, it's just like I don't know why he's saying like she's a sexy bitch and she's a freak and bring that ass over here. It's like he was Robin Thicke before Robin Thicke, and I think Robin Thicke's fucking cringy as hell too. So like
Sure.
Timberlake has always been very cringy to me, very cringy. And then
I
actually listening to his lyrics and actually listen to his songs, I'm just like, the cringe only got worse for me. And I hate the
I
word cringy. I wish I knew of a better term, but that's just the best I can, you
I
know.
just feel like he has just from listening to this album, I feel like he just has a confidence and he has like it sounds like he knows what he's doing. I'm not getting such a cringy vibe
Mm.
from just him trying to be a sexy man. I don't know.
Do you
I
find him
was I was
sexy?
I mean, I guess
Do
a
you find him
little bit.
attractive at
I
all?
kind of like when he was like a little hairier. This area is very like buzz cut, like
Yeah.
clean, maybe got that
The buzz cut
beard.
was his best look. The buzz
Do you
cut with
think
like a five
so?
o'clock shadow. I think so.
I I think it was better when he did that like Man of the Woods album or something,
Yeah.
where he was
Yeah.
kind of like a little more grizzled. I kind of like
Okay.
but I also think Ramen Hair JT is
I mean, that's peak JT for sure, like
that's
in
peak
terms of
JT.
like cultural significance for sure. Um, but yeah, I think that was another thing that was like hard for me to kind of get over that, where I think a little bit it's like he feels a little fake to me. It feels a little phony.
Well, that will affect how you feel about the album. If you're
Yeah.
listening to a fucking solo artist and you don't like their personality, that's gonna fucking get you.
Yeah, it puts a damper on things. It's a hard hurdle to overcome, but like overall, I think the production's good. It's very clean production. It sounds fine. I definitely don't think it's anything mind blowing. It's nothing that nothing surprised me on the album in terms of music or production wise or anything. But I don't know enough about pop to know if like for all I know, fucking tons of
It,
producers cite this album as like, dude, this fucking changed my life. Like I
there's a
don't
lot
know.
of there's a lot of like you had to be there to know the effect it had on
Yeah,
you, right? And we
yeah.
just like I don't know, I was 11. I wasn't really thinking about music too much back then.
I was listening to
Um,
so much metal and
yeah,
punk
like
at
you
this
weren't listening to
time.
Jay-Z.
No, no,
And you certainly didn't care about the effects that this album had on pop
no,
culture, pop
no. And I
music.
probably didn't even notice the effects that it had on
But
pop
I
music at all.
I very much love the production of this album. It's very clean. It's not
Mhm.
good. It's nothing experimental, but there's a wide scope of instruments. There's a wide scope of sounds. There's I mean, it's all carried by Justin. It's all about his voice in the end,
Right,
right?
right.
But I think even if you're not listening to that voice, I think there's some interesting stuff happening in the back.
I've, I mean, there really
Like
wasn't a
even
lot for me to get excited about.
there's like just a tiny little thing after what goes around. I assume like the comes around uh interlude.
You're talking about the little Asian guitar
No,
thing at
I'm
the end
talking
because
it like
I like that a lot actually.
I mean I do love that throughout the whole.
Yeah.
But the part I want to talk about is Justin's talking a little bit. He comes back in, never go home, like, and there's this little drum beat, and then it kicks in at a time that it sounds so cool to me.
Mm,
Um, yeah, and I just love that fucking moment. It's just little tiny stuff like that throughout this whole album. that kind of hooks me back to, and it's
Hmm.
something I love listening to front to back.
It's interesting when I was reading reviews of this album just to see like what did people think at the time when it came out. A lot of people are, which it makes sense, but to me, like Timbaland has such a strong presence on this album, and if not music alone, but also he's just on a lot of tracks on this record.
Yeah,
Not a lot of people were really talking about his music. Like it wasn't like the music was a big deal of the album. It sounded like it was Justin was the big deal of the album. And to me, I'm just like, he's the most boring part of the record to me. It's like the music's way more interesting. And even then,
about that.
the music's not that interesting. So, like outside of Sexy Back, none of these other songs sounded like game changing to me.
It's, I mean, it's obviously Justin Timberlake. It's Justin Timberlake's album, so it makes sense that they would focus on him. But I don't know why they wouldn't talk about the music
Yeah,
at
a lot of it
all.
was just like, oh, Timbaland's beats were very, this, they incorporated a lot of this influence and blah, blah, but nothing was like Timbaland changed pop music with his, the music on this album, blah, blah. It was all just kind of like, yeah, it was good. You're like, okay, fuck.
I don't know. Like maybe this album influences people to this day on how we're writing like sexy man pop music. I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of it.
I think the one
But
the one really big call out was the New York Times. Um, it's the New York Times called it out where they were saying like Timbaland can basically make like the most irritating percussion instrument sound good,
sure.
and that's a lot of his production style. Um, but it does. They said Timbaland has been long known for hiding little surprises near the end of songs, and here he takes his obsession with transformation to new heights. Is what the New York Times said. It's just like you said, like there was that little thing, that little drum fill, and the place where it landed was like in
Yeah.
this really interesting spot. And I
Yeah.
liked the end of What Goes Around Comes Around, that little where they isolated that Asian string instrument part. And it just
Yeah.
kind of he just let that kind of like be the end of the song. And it was something that it's like the first time I heard the song, I didn't realize that that thing was playing the whole time. So it's
Really?
like, yeah, I didn't pick up on it until the end. And I was just like, oh, that's a really cool random thing from the end on. And then every time I heard it after that, I was like, oh shit, it's playing like pretty much the whole song. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like I didn't pick up on that. So there are a lot of layers in the music, and Timbaland is good about like one thing should be getting your attention, and that thing gets your attention. And if you want to pay
Yeah.
attention, if you want to go back and like really, really fucking like soak in the songs, you're gonna pick up three or four other things that were going on that you didn't even realize it.
I I think
I
Timbaland
think
is
he's really good
very
about that.
he's very efficient with
Yeah.
how he kind of builds instrumentation because there are moments where it's just like a beat and JT and like that's about it. There's a lot of moments where it's just like two or three instruments playing where Justin Timberlake's singing, and
Hmm.
that's like most of the song. But it still keeps you interested with the way he uses it, the effects he puts on it, where he puts things. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that's great.
It's good. Um,
You want
yeah.
to get into reviews?
Yeah, man. Let me give you my rating.
It's
Yeah,
this. I'm glad we don't end with this
I know.
uh because this is the worst fucking when I know you're like did not like an album the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Gives
I
them a
didn't go
straight.
into this. There have been times where you've brought on a record that I resent you for, and I go into it hating it already before I even heard it. This was one that I really didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to be like, ugh, fucking this, like,
Yeah,
and but this was the one that I was most like, God damn it, I gotta listen to fucking Justin Timberlake. Like there really hasn't been, I can't think of a specific album that going into it, I was just like, well, I already don't want to like it, because I don't think I'm gonna like this or whatever. Like there hasn't been that moment
yeah.
really that I have felt as strongly, nearly as strongly about like listening to Justin Timberlake. And I'm just like, motherfucker, Really don't want to listen to this. Uh, this is not exactly the best music to listen to, like when you're sad, like
No,
it's,
I did text you and I
I
did
know.
say, hey, we could do another album. This is
I,
the
and I,
worst, maybe the worst time to be listening to something like
yes,
this.
that's true. And I appreciated that, but I was like, nah, I don't think it's going to really change my opinion on it, overall. I think like, never been a huge fan of Justin Timberlake's. Loved In Sync for what it was. I was a kid. It's very nostalgic to listen to that music. Timberlake, I've never been a fan of. This album, actually, like my buddy in college got super into this record and he like loved it. And it was because of the music was a big part of it. Like he
Sure.
was a music major in school. So he was like, dude, it's fucking, I was like, are you really listening to fucking Sexy Back, dude? And he's like, dude, it's like mind blowing, man. Like you have to listen to it, like all the synth shit that's going on. But, and I was just like, no, no, like I don't understand it. I don't want to listen to it. So, but I tried really hard to go into this album to be like, you might be surprised. Just listen to it, give it a shot. And I expected to be bored or just like not interested. I didn't expect to be annoyed. That was the that was the surprise for me. I was very annoyed listening to this album, and a lot of it had to do with Justin Timberlake's voice. I do not like his voice. Um, he had a couple of moments where I was surprised at the things that he was doing, and a couple of moments that it was a good surprise. And then there were also a couple of moments where I was genuinely like, okay, he does sound pretty good on this song. But to me, he's a very boring singer. The music was fine. It's again, it sounded more like a recreation or a reproduction of people who have done it better. Is your heart starting to hurt?
No, I was just shocked by some
Yeah.
nothing.
Oh,
Just
okay. Did someone show
by
you their
your
titties or something?
by what you're saying about this album.
Yeah, so I'll just stop the bleeding. I'll rip off the band-aid or whatever. I'm gonna
Please
give
do.
this like a 3, maybe 3.3. Yeah.
That
Let's just
hurts.
take a moment.
I What did Timbaland die for? If you're gonna give it a rating as low as that,
Fuck, man, is Timbaland dead?
I don't think he's dead.
I don't think he's dead
I
either,
hope
man.
he's
Let's
not
not
dead at
start that
least.
shit. No, he is 52 years old. He's doing just fine.
Fuck, man, that fucking hurts. What can you tell me? What your favorite part of the album was?
Honestly, my favorite part was the chorus of What Goes Around Comes Around. Really liked it.
Okay.
Goes around, goes around.
Don't baby back around. Which is funny because we'll talk about that song soon. But that song sounds just like Cry Me a River to me.
Yes, it does. And
It's like
he got a lot of
exactly
flack
like
for it.
it's wild.
Yeah, he got a lot of flack for it at the time. Yes, it sounds a lot like Crimea River, and it's the same like kind of message of Crimea River
Yeah,
too.
right. Like
Yeah,
he literally got a hit with the same song twice.
pretty much. Yeah,
Um,
he repackaged it. And the other um part that I really liked was the closing track. I thought it was a really good
hmm.
song, a really great closing track. I thought Justin sounded the best on it. Um, so every time those two songs played, I was like, all right, man, I got to give it up. I like these two songs. Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm not the
Uh,
fucking Grinch, man. I can find things I love.
Thank you, man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring this album back up. I thought songs are really catchy. I love the melodies throughout the whole thing. Timbaland's production is great. It's interesting. It's efficient. I I personally like Timberlake's voice. I think if I didn't hear it when I was 11, I might like it less. But it is so indicative of an era of time for me. You
For
know?
sure. It does seem like a lot of people were trying to sound like him after this.
Yeah. So I like it. I think my least favorite part of the album, there were a lot of like kind of weird features that I didn't enjoy.
The features
Um,
didn't work on any of the songs.
no, I didn't like Ti. I didn't like Will I Am. I didn't really like 36 Mafia.
No,
So
I love 3 6 Mafia, and I hated them on that song.
I don't know.
You
But
gotta listen to more 3 6 Mafia, but
I feel like for the most part, this was a pop behemoth, and even the songs that weren't singles, I think have a lot of great stuff in them and could have been singles,
hmm
maybe.
hmm
I'm giving this album. I think I gotta give this album like an 8.5 is what I'm gonna land on.
Jesus Christ.
It's a it's a song I was jamming to today. I got Legally High,
Love it.
and I was just fucking
Yeah, that's
feeling
the thing is
myself, man.
my buddy that was obsessed with this album when it came out was also like getting stoned and driving and listening to this album, and he was like, dude, it's so good. There's so much going on. Like, you gotta listen to it high. And
You,
I'm just like, dude, it's bothering me.
you gotta get Love Stone, dude.
Oh God. Love stoned.
And she knows. I think that she knows.
Well,
Oh, I love this fucking record.
8 point, did you give it 8.5, you said?
8.5. Yeah.
8.5.
I'm very picky about pop records. There's really I like to listen to pop because there could be some really interesting stuff out.
hmm
Um I like a lot of Beyonce stuff. I like this album. I like Carly Rae Jepsen, Lizzo. Um but not a lot of stuff piques my attention like this album does. And there's not a lot of great pop albums, really. Like
I agree.
there's really not a lot of pop albums that go into it thinking this is an album, this is what we're doing, we have a whole thing here. It's not just
Yeah.
like song I made after song I made after song I made, just like playlist style.
Yeah, I agree. I think the best pop record, and I barely listen to any pop of the last like 15 years that I've heard, unless when did Born This Way come out?
Um, Born This Way, 2010 or like 2008 or
2000,
something.
2000. I'm like, I'm thinking 2009 for some
I
reason.
think Fame Monster was 2008, and that album was like 2 years later or something.
Uh, what the fuck? Tell me when this song came out. Born This Way. 2011. Okay. So in the last,
2011.
ever since Born This Way, I think my favorite pop record I've heard since that one is Lizzo's debut album.
Damn, all right. I'm glad I fucking brought it to your attention.
Yeah, that was one that I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna
Oh,
hate this. And then I was like, it was actually really, really fucking good.
would we would you consider no, Tank and the Bangas is not like pop.
Yeah, they're more
I don't think they
R&B,
would.
soul music. I was even thinking
Um,
like, is Miracle Musical pop? I'm like, no,
no, not really.
not really.
You don't like any like Beyonce stuff? You didn't like any like
I don't like Beyonce.
no?
I really don't. I've
That's
never really
rough.
liked. I've
That's a rough life.
loved Destiny's Child. Don't like Beyonce.
That we might talk about Destiny's Child sometime. I
Okay.
downloaded like a hits album by them. I had no idea
Bangers,
how much they
bangers, dude. Yeah, it's again. I love Destiny's Child. Do not like Beyonce. Loved NSYNC. Do not like Justin Timberlake.
you like the groups. You like when the boys stick together.
Entourage Effect.
Well, I can't wait until you bring your In Sync album on here,
Okay.
and we could both fucking jam to it. But
Okay.
before that, let's get into our NAR notes.
Yeah, man. I've already mentioned mine too.
I assume it's the last song. Uh,
Yes. That is
another,
definitely my favorite song on the album. Another song all over again.
yeah.
Um,
I thought it
musically,
was. Go on.
musically it's my favorite on the album. I think it's closer to like Stevie Wonder type piano driven ballad, R&B ballad. It's the only song on the album that sounds and feels organic to me. Uh,
I think that's just because there's less like digital instruments on
there's a lot more live instruments as
it.
far as I
Yeah,
can tell. But also it's very like it's a very understated song. It's not like flashy. There's a lot going on. The music's really nice, but it's just like very elegant music. It's not trying too hard.
sure.
There's not a lot going on at once. so it's kind of understated compared to the rest of the album, and it just felt like very heartfelt. It's like the only song that felt like Justin Timberlake is singing ab- about something, like you can hear it in
Sure.
his
Yeah.
voice that what he's singing he means.
Yeah.
Um, so because and it made honestly a bad part about how good that last song is that it made the whole rest of the album just felt like empty pop music to me. You
By
know?
the time you get to the end of the album, it is like weird looking back and thinking like, oh yeah, there was like fucking my love, my love.
Yeah, dude, Damn Girl
Damn
was like
girl.
just a few songs before
Yeah,
before
yeah.
this, it really is a weird song to end with. It doesn't make sense for the album, but it is my favorite song on the album.
And then your other one is What Goes Around.
Yeah.
That's mine as well. That's one of mine. Even
Yeah,
though it
man.
does sound exactly like that JT song that came out 6 years before.
You know what it also sounded like to me? A song that came out 7 years before. It
Is
sounds
it
it
that One Republic song?
no. God, One Republic. I haven't fucking heard that
It
stuff.
it's
That is a
too
deep
late to
cut.
apologize.
Great song.
It's
No, it
too
doesn't remind me of that.
late. Okay.
The music, the beginning of the song, like the acoustic guitar kind of part,
Yeah.
reminds me so much of Put Your Lights On. Hey now, all you sinners,
I don't think I've heard
leave
it.
your lights on. You better leave your lights on.
Who's that by?
Santana and Everlast off of
I,
Supernatural.
I'm sorry, I'm not listening to ever.
You didn't listen to that? Have you heard Supernatural?
I mean, is that the one with
My
Smooth on it?
God. Yes.
Then yeah, I probably heard it, but
And
it's been
Maria
like
Maria.
fucking like nearly 2 decades. Maria Roots
That's
song.
a fucking awesome song.
I
But
should listen to that record.
you really should, man. Like that is a classic. Uh I know that Michael loves that album. That'd be really cool to actually have him on an episode to talk about that record.
We'll talk about it later, but I do want to get people on soon.
Yeah, for sure. I've been trying to fucking put out feelers and everyone's just busy.
I'll
But
reel
what
them
goes
in.
around comes around. I really like that chorus. I don't like much else about the song. I really like the chorus, like the three or four
Really?
part. Yeah, like the rest of the song is like
It,
fine to
you
me.
don't like, don't want to think about, don't want to think about it. Isn't it? Can't believe I'm feeling this way. Really?
No. Yeah.
That's,
What's
uh,
so funny to me, I don't know if it's going to come through in the recording, but a lot of times when you've been singing, it's like your microphone mutes you automatically. So you're doing all these voices and we can't hear shit.
when I do my fucking legendary runs, like,
Yeah, you're muted right now for some reason. Like, I don't know why it's doing that to you, but even Zoom is like, we don't do that here. Like, no, no, no.
I
But yeah,
think,
I like that song a lot. I love that melody. I love that dripping kind of melody progression.
yeah, sure.
I think it's really cool. I love the multi-part harmonies. And I like the again, they kind of did a little Asian thing, like a little Asian stringed guitar thing in there too, which I thought was a cool touch.
Yeah. Well, dang, I fucking love that whole song.
Hmm.
But I'm glad you at least like the chorus. Um, did you have any honorable mentions? I doubt it.
I mean, now that you mention it, I did.
Oh,
I
okay.
genuinely I had to give an honorable mention to Sexy Back.
Okay, well, let's talk about that because that is my second Narna.
I'm not surprised. It is
I,
just an iconic beat, an iconic song.
I,
The
I
whole
think
thing is just legendary.
it's legendary. It's iconic. I think especially coming after the first track on the album, Future Sex Love Sound.
That
Um,
almost feels like a one of those like stripped down Drake beats that he's singing over almost,
a
right?
little
It's
bit.
like very nothing going on. Um
It's it's one of the most minimal songs on the record.
yeah.
I think, if I remember correctly. And then the song before it's kind of musical. Tell me which way you like that, and then comes into this with just the beat and ba, ba, ba.
Yeah. dude,
Ba,
legit.
ba, 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 ba.
Even though I
Yeah.
hate the Yaz,
You
yeah,
hate the yes?
I hate the Yaz.
Oh, fuck off, dude.
Well,
Come
okay,
on.
hear me out. When it came out, sure, was it cool? Of course, I did it all the time, and very quickly it became like it became like a joke with my friends.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
that and the take it to the bridge, take it to the
Take
chorus, like
the chorus.
that all became jokes and memes to me and my friends like within
Sure,
weeks
yeah.
of the song coming out. So like listening to it now, I'm just like, oh my god, this song is goofy as hell. But Justin, honestly, and all the other songs except the closing track, I think this is Justin's best vocal performance. Sexy Back.
Really? Damn, really?
Yeah, it's
What
weird,
part
but
of it?
honestly, it's because he sounds interesting. He's not trying to like Christina Aguilera his way through a fucking song. Like he's barely even putting any inflection. He's almost kind of like just talking, kind of sing talking a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
It's very subdued and it's a little like
It's
you could call it like lazy, but I like it.
the fuzz vocal on there, I think is
I like the
very
distortion.
it brings a lot to the song. I think without that it would have been a very different feel.
Yeah,
But that going into the like come go hippie, go with it, go
yeah,
hippie, go with it. Like that's super catchy to just like say. I do it
yeah.
every time. Go hippie, go,
Get your sexy
go
on.
hippie, go with,
Come on,
you know.
girl. Yeah, and the
Yeah,
fucking you never ever gonna misbehave.
yeah.
Na,
You
na,
see
na.
these shackles, baby, I'm a slave.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great melody, great part.
yeah, it
And like
is.
I think we called it. Like Timbaland knew this was gonna be the big one because he is all over this fucking song, dude.
Oh yeah, he's like you would almost call this like a duo
A
song.
feature or something.
Yeah,
Like he's
like
almost like he.
something.
It's like, hey, just let me talk for like the songs were kind of long on this album, which we
This
didn't
is the
talk
only
about,
song
but
he's credited as.
okay, so it is a feature. He is a feature on
Yeah.
this because I'm like, homie was straight up like, "Hey, I'm going to talk for 45
Let
seconds out of your
let me get on
4 minute
this
song."
one. Yeah.
Yeah, uh, but man, that beat, those melodies, the bringing sexy back, just the impact that that had on
Yeah.
pop culture and slang and like how many fucking parodies of this song have there been? Like
Yeah, sure.
how many times have you heard like I'm bringing sexy back or I'm bringing X back like since this song? It's just like they created a phrase
Yeah.
with this song. It's pretty fucking awesome.
And apparently wardrobe malfunction, which I didn't know
Yeah, that was a JT or his PR team. You're just covering her up.
about. I'm trying to-
But yeah, man, sexy back. It's like whether I'm never gonna listen to that song like unironically ever. But it's one that it's like
Sad.
you gotta fucking recognize the impact and like give him credit for writing a great fucking pop song, whether it's aged kind of awkwardly or it's kind of silly now and goofy, but it is just a fun fucking pop song. So like even if it is goofy and the Ticket to the Bridge stuff is like makes you laugh, it's like it's a fun song, man. They're not taking themselves seriously on that song at all.
I, I think it's still a very sexy song, but I think without that, it is a fun song and it's fun to dance.
Yeah, it would be way sexier if they weren't going take him to the bridge, take it to the chorus, and
I think that's sexy. I love that.
what is sexy about that?
The bridge.
What is that? Is just no, see? Try that shit
The
tonight, Ash.
chorus. It's
Try that shit
catchy.
tonight.
It's catchy.
No, try that tonight when y'all
I
are
will try it tonight.
fucking smoking opium and doing whatever you do in Seattle,
Fuck, dude. How did you all
snorting
right, so
poppers and fucking banging each other.
I don't need you to lecture me about my
You're like, that felt judgy.
very, very sex and drug filled life. Thank you very
Right.
much.
Hey, I'm
All
I'm happy
right.
for you. I'm happy for you.
I'm living the fucking rock star life. I'm breaking everyone's TVs. I'm not invited to parties anymore.
People hate me.
People
Hate your
hate me.
face.
Okay.
Did you have any NARS?
Yeah, of course I had some NARS.
Of course.
I think more than NARS, I think I'd like to point out the kind of for like Damn Girl and Set the Mood were just kind of low points on this record. I even came to like Chop Me Up. Um, but I think the most honorable are uh Love Stoned. I think she knows. Losing My Way, Summer Love, and Future Sex Love Stoned.
And Summer Love was a skip for me. That was a flyover track. Sexy Ladies, another skip for
Oh,
me.
you froze on me for a second.
Oh, I was saying Summer Love was a skip and Sexy Ladies was a skip.
I can't wait to fall in love with you. Really,
Skip, dude.
dude?
Skip.
All right, fuck off.
But surprisingly, I liked the music a lot of Damn Girl.
Really? I mean, yeah, they kind of have this like kind of organ thing going in there.
Yeah, like a 60s kind of like soul vibe to it. And I'm not really surprised because like as much as I hate Black Eyed Peas and I hate Will I Am, um, every song that Will I Am has made for like another artist, I've really liked. So it
I love
doesn't
how the drums sound on here.
the drums are great. He's really good with drums and like vibe. Like he just fucking gets it. Like he
Sure.
did a song for the game on my favorite game record, Doctor's Advocate. And dude, this song is fucking killer and the percussion is what like really makes it stand out. Like he has like super loud snare in that song, which is like weird for a hip hop song. And it's like do 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 like these like super loud drums and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Whoa." And you know, Will I Am can't help but be fucking cheesy because he's just a cheesy guy.
Yep.
But his like hook on that song is kind of cheesy, but kind of fucking awesome too, you know? And another one that's just
The
kind of like you
the
can't
the what
deny him of like the good things that he can do.
what Will I Am part are you talking about? The vocal part?
Yeah.
What part? The whoa 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 do like that part?
Well, I'm talking about the game song, the song that he did with the game
Oh, okay.
specifically.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
kind of lost track of what we
But
were talking.
his part on Damn Girl wasn't great either, you
No,
know.
I don't
But
think
I really
so.
like the music. I got to give it to him at least. Like I liked the music on that song. But
Sure.
holy shit, that song fucking drove me crazy. The
It is.
lyrics.
If you want to point and laugh at any song for being just like stereotypical and like nothing and like the most like pop sex thing ever, this is probably
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised that that wasn't a
Damn
bigger hit.
Girl. I come on, man. Things don't always become hits just because they're like like some shit becomes a hit because it's good. Oh,
What does the fox say?
that was a meme, man, and you know it. That was a meme.
You start crying. It's a fucking me, man.
But it was a great song.
All right, well let's end the episode.
All right. Thank you, buds. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you for watching. We're on wherever you find podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. We're also on YouTube if you want to watch video. We got an
Mm.
Instagram if you want to watch a dedicated. Uh, follow us, like us, comment, whatever you want to do. Just feel it out, you know? Whatever. I don't know.
Just feel it out.
Feel it out.
Yeah, man. Let us know what you guys think of future sex love sounds. Leave us on if you're listening to us on Spotify, we have a little Q&A section that you can tell us what you guys thought. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave a fucking comment. You can go to our Instagram and just leave a comment on any random post that from a year ago if you want to just comment about this episode. And in the next episode, I think I know what I want to listen to.
Yeah? Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. It was down between two, and I had a hard time picking between the two, but I'm going punk. And I'm going
Okay.
with a punk band that has become fucking huge, but this is their first album and it's very different.
Oh, is it Offspring?
No.
Damn.
It's
Okay.
a good guess though. I guess this is actually oh, fuck, is it their first or second album? I got to make sure.
This is gonna sway my guess.
Um it's their second album. And
It's
to
their
me, I
second
think it
album.
was their breakthrough record. Um for me. and probably in the world of punk music. But it is Revolutions Per Minute by Rise Against. It is
Okay.
my
Yeah.
favorite album of theirs, and I fucking love it. I haven't heard it in a while, so let's talk
Is
about
it,
that
it
one.
kind of the second coming of pop vocal punk after Bad
Yeah,
Religion?
yeah, it was like because their first album, The Unraveling, was like very hardcore, like fucking awesome punk music. Revolutions Per Minute was getting more into the like the big kind of like like uh half note or quarter note, half note. I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking
The
about.
it was a like Revolutions Per Minute is like the choruses are fast punk and the verses are really fast punk and the
Oh,
choruses
okay. And
are like
then
they open it up,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know. Now I'm on my way to the other side. Like that kind of like era of Rise Against, but they still keep the really good hardcore fucking good punk in the verses. And it's a fucking great record, man. And it
All right,
shaped
man.
who they would become. Like this album is the beginning of who Rise Against would become.
I'm excited to listen to it. I have not listened to a full Rise Against album yet.
Oh, you're in for a treat. Oh, I made a good choice.
Well, I better be,
Yeah. All right, buddies. Thank you for listening. Ash, this was good.
because this was good.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.